Welcome back, everyone. So let's talk about the Harry Potter franchise, because Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald is the next Fantastic Beasts film, the second one in this Harry Potter franchise, or J.K. Rowling's Wizarding World is what I think the universe is now called for the movies. So I wanted to definitely talk about all the Harry Potter films before the new one comes out. I think it comes out on the 16th. So I've got a little bit of time to review all 9 of these films until then. Now, the Harry Potter franchise to me is extremely important. It's one of these franchises that I grew up with. I was the perfect age to whenever the first movie came out, which I'm going to be talking about today, The Sorcerer's Stone or Philosopher's Stone. And it came out at the perfect time because I was literally like 8, 9, or 10, and I was so excited to whenever I heard about this, I watched the movie first, the first movie, and then I started reading all the books that were available at that time. And I've read all the books a lot of times as well. I know a lot of differences between the books and the movies, and I love the books, I love the movies, and I think that this is an extremely important franchise to me. Just one of those that really created my childhood. Like, it's one that I always go back to no matter what. And it's been a year or two since I've watched all of these, so I'm excited because rewatching The Sorcerer's Stone, I found a lot of things that, even though I've seen this dozens of times, there's so many things I forgot because I haven't seen it in a couple of years, since the last Fantastic Beasts, which came out in 2016. So I love this franchise, I love these films, and I definitely am excited to talk about these. Now, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the first film in the franchise, the first book, it's like any book that's the first in a franchise. It is a starting point. It is the thing that introduces all these characters. And the thing that I love is that they got Christopher Columbus to direct this, who also, funny enough, it also has John Williams composing the score. So it's like, and Chris Columbus directed the first 2 Harry Potter films, so it's just like, it's his second reunion with 2 films with John Williams, because Home Alone 1 and 2 were directed both by Chris Columbus and had a score by John Williams. So that's really funny that he did it twice with Harry Potter as well. He didn't go on after this. Alfonso Cuarón was the next director with Prisoner of Azkaban. But these first 2 films are different looking and feel different than the rest of the franchise, but I'm totally fine with that because this is the first film where these characters are 11 years old. The first year of Hogwarts for everybody. Chris Columbus, I think, did a fantastic job of making this very kid-friendly, but I don't want to make that as an insult. I mean kid-friendly as in, like, it's so well structured and so well done, and I love how this is so close to the first book. This one in particular, there's a couple things that aren't in this, but this is very close to the first book. They do a fantastic job of adapting this to film. And it's really interesting to see with this one, the first one, like, how would they do it? Like, because the book is so much smaller. I don't know if it's the shortest book. Well, I think it is, actually, because I think Chamber of Secrets is longer. So it's funny to see how this is such a very faithful adaptation to the book, and I really enjoy that. And I really enjoy, like I said, Chris Columbus's personal touch with the first 2 movies and how it's got such a childlike whimsy to it. But it's got scary moments too, where it challenges kids too. I think that this works really well. And again, since I was like 10 or 11 whenever this came out, it was perfect timing to where I grew up with these films kind of the same age that they were. Like, that's great. I love that. And the first movie, I think, is, I don't know, like, I love this movie rewatching it, but I don't know how I'm going to rank these movies. So I'm going to do a ranking afterwards of all these movies, including the new one, but I don't know how I'm going to do this because I love every single one of these, so it's going to be really difficult to do that. So what I'm saying is that I love the first film so much. I love how it opens up, where it introduces us to Hagrid and McGonagall, and Dumbledore, and they are giving Harry up to his aunt and uncle, the Dursleys, and Harry is this wizard who has a destiny. Like, he is going to be famous, like more than he can even imagine, and he isn't going to know nothing of that. And Dumbledore sends him away to his horrible, awful family, and McGonagall even says, like, before they let him go, like, these are the worst type of Muggles that I've ever seen, or that I have to deal with. And I really love the fact that Dumbledore did a good thing, where it made Harry, whenever he becomes famous, it's not like he already knows, so he's not going to be a brat about it. It's not like he's from a lineage like Malfoy, where Malfoy in this movie introduced as a brat, and he's been in a famous family. And the Malfoys are big and famous in the world, so I like how this starts out to where Harry is set in this like normal life and not realizing what's going to transpire in the future. And he thinks he's always just going to be miserable, because whenever it cuts to him at age 11 with the family, with Aunt Petunia, Uncle Vernon, and Dudley, it's great because it reminds me of like Matilda, where like Matilda, another character with magical powers, deals with a shitty family, like a horrible family, and I love how over the top and bratty this family is. Like Dudley is one of the most brattiest kids in a movie that I've seen. I don't know about overall, but like he's a really bratty kid, and I think that he works really well. That scene, whenever it starts to Harry is 11 years old, and Dudley and Harry are both, like, Harry lives under the cupboard, and Dudley's treated perfectly because he's the son, he's the actual kid, and Harry's just this kind of just person living there, but they don't like him, they don't care for him, they just brought him in because his parents died. So I love that scene where Harry wakes up and Petunia's like, get up, and then he comes in and she's like, cook the breakfast, don't burn anything. And then Dudley, it's his birthday, so Dudley sees all the presents, and then his immediate response is, how many are there? And Vernon says 36, counted them myself, and he's like, 36. Last year I got 37. And then Vernon's like, they're a little bigger than last year. He's like, I don't care how big they are. I love that, and how horrible this family is, and how Harry his reaction is hilarious, where he's just like, I deal with this shit every day. Like, it cracks me up whenever Harry's just cooking the food and he's like, whatever, just another day living here. That's great. So I love that it sets up how horrible of a life Harry has, like, living with this family, the only family he's got. And it really works really well whenever he finally realizes he's a wizard, whenever the letters keep being sent and like they won't open them, so they go to this place in the middle of the ocean, and then Hagrid comes down because no letter has been answered, and tells Harry his lineage and how Harry is destined to be something bigger. And I love the fact that means that Harry won't be like somebody like Malfoy, where he'll not be born into this. He'll learn to be a kind person and not be a bratty person, because you know you're going to be famous in this world. So I like that he learns this at age 11, the year that he's supposed to become a wizard. So I really think that's good. Just how this story in the book and the movie it transpires in a really nice way. And I love how after that, Harry and Hagrid, they go and shop for wizard supplies. And you would think that would be boring, but the way that Daniel Radcliffe acts and reacts to stuff, like all this wonder and whimsy, going into all these stores, meeting all these colorful characters in Diagon Alley, and how he's getting his first wand, he's getting an owl, he's looking at broomsticks, like all this stuff. You would think it's boring, but because of his performance and because of all these colorful characters, it makes it so interesting and fun, and I love that. And I love whenever Hagrid tells Harry, like, his story, like, the truth of the fact that Voldemort killed his parents, and he's the only one left, and the only thing left on him is that scar, and he tried to murder him, so nobody understands why he survived. And I really love that a lot. And I like how whenever you get, after that, Harry goes on the train at 9 3/4, which is so cool how they go through through a big wall and just go through that, and nobody notices. I think that's awesome. And then on the train ride, he meets Ron and Hermione, which are friends to the end in this franchise. Like they're just they it is fate whenever they meet on the train, and I like the fact that they don't start out loving each other. Harry and Ron are good to each other, and then Hermione comes in and is a very know-it-all, bratty girl. And I like how Ron reacts and doesn't like her like that, like her for that, like her for that reason, and he thinks that she's kind of horrible. So I like that their friendship has to bloom, and it doesn't just immediately go, hey, we're friends. Even though Harry and Ron kind of did that, but Hermione, it took a while, and I like that that brought them together. And I thought that overall their friendship works for everything in this movie. Everything they learn, Hermione either has knowledge, Ron either helps them out in some way or form, and Harry gaining all these gifts, like he does all these things, like they all have a use for each other, and they all need each other to make it through the movie. And I just love their friendship, and they're really great for their performances for this age. Like they're really good child performers, and I really like them all. I love them all in all the movies, but I think they're great in this first one. I think they're really solid and really work really well for child actors. So they get on the train and they go to Hogwarts, and that great shot of like where the first years are in the boats, and like it pans up and then it shows the castle in full, which is just a beautiful shot. And with John Williams' amazing score in this, that makes it even more epic and more just awesome. And I love being introduced, like after Harry has a sorting hat thing, where like Harry wants to be in Gryffindor, but then the sorting hat's a Slytherin, but he wants to go to Gryffindor, so he gets into Gryffindor. We have all these school scenes where like you just get to see them like having, again, this is scenes just like when Harry's shopping for stuff. It's like you would think it's boring, but again, these characters are so fun and so quirky, and the performances are so great that watching these kids in class is just super interesting. I always think it's so fun no matter what, just showing them in class learning stuff, like, because it's not of our world, it's something that's different. So, and I really love how it's shown in this movie, especially the first one. I think it just does very well. So, and I like the fact that Harry learns of like Professor Quirrell, who is the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, and Professor Snape, who wants his job. And Snape seems to hate Harry for some reason. And I won't really say why, because it's just the first movie. It doesn't explain it in the first movie, and with good reason it doesn't. But Snape hates Harry. He just immediately has a dislike for him, a hatred for him. And Harry gets kind of a hatred towards Snape, and thinks that Snape is trying to kill him in a lot of ways, either jinxing his broom, or like some things he'll say might seem like he's trying to hurt Harry or take him off the edge. Like, I think that it's really great between Snape and Harry, and Alan Rickman in this movie is fantastic, and he gets even every single movie. Like the last movie, I'll just keep talking about that whenever that we get to the last movie, but that last movie, like, he has some Oscar performance in that movie. Like, he is incredible. Blows me away, even makes me shed tears. Like, he's that good in the last movie, but he is great in this first movie, and he really works. And I really love that between Harry and Snape. Like, they hate each other, and you learn why Snape is like this throughout. But this first movie, it works very well, and it works on its own for just one story, for the first book and movie. So I really like that a lot. And I love the fact that as the movie goes along, again, you just see these kids, like, in class, like, learning magic. It's fun and it's still interesting. Because, again, it's just fun seeing stuff from a thing that we don't have, magic, and seeing all these quirky characters. They're all fun and all interesting. And, like, them playing Quidditch, or, like, them fighting off a giant troll. Like, all these scenes are so fun, and this movie never is uninteresting to me. And even though I've seen it millions of times, ever since it came out, I still love it, just no matter what. And I love how the end of the movie, like the third act, is really great, because it starts to where they have to figure out about the stone. They like the Sorcerer's Stone, like they're gonna go get it, figure out the mystery of this, and Voldemort has been killing off unicorns to stay alive. Like, he's alive out there, they just don't know where he's at. And I love the fact that they have 5 different challenges going through in the end of the movie. Like, they go through Fluffy, which is the 3-headed dog who has the harp playing, and they have to go underneath him to get down farther. And then they go through the Devil's Snare, which is a plant that entraps them. And then they go to the Chamber of the Winged Keys, and then they have to find the key that is the one that will go open the door, and there's thousands of keys. So, and then the chessboard. Like, I love how they've got the chessboard thing, where they have to move across the board like a literal chessboard. And then they finally make it, Harry himself finally makes it to the final challenge, which is this room where the Mirror of Erised now lies, because he had a scene earlier where he saw his family. And the Mirror of Erised is just somebody's desire of what they want the most in life, which Harry wants his parents. And you find out that Quirrell is looking at the Mirror of Erised in that final room, and Harry's like, it's you. And I love the fact that this actor is good. I don't know what his name is that plays Quirrell, but he's the one the whole time. Like, his character is the one who has actually been trying to kill Harry, and Snape's been trying to save him, which really works well because Snape, Alan Rickman, because of his great performance in this movie, he seems so like he hates Harry so much, and Snape is so unlikable in this movie. But whenever you realize that Quirrell says that he's been trying to save him, like, it's just a thing that throws you off. Like, what? If you didn't know the whole story, that's a great twist. Like, you thought that he would be the one to do this, but then it's stuttering Professor Quirrell that, when you realize the twist, he has like the bandana, he takes it off his head, and Voldemort is literally etched in the back of his head, alive and as a parasite. Like, he is there alive because of Quirrell. And I love that, and I love the final fight, and I love how that realization that Harry has, and they're meeting Voldemort again. That's great. And I love how Harry has this thing where, like, he grabs Quirrell and, like, just touches him, but then Quirrell starts literally turning into dust because it's of Harry's mother, and her love has created a shield for him that has saved him. And I think that it's really cool, an image of him just melting, or breaking apart into dust, like Quirrell. And then Voldemort's, like, spirit just, like, kind of floats out of there through Harry. And then Dumbledore destroys the stone after this final confrontation. But I love the fact that Dumbledore explains that it was love that saved you. Like, you were the one that, like, your mother's protection saved you because of that. And because it wasn't technically fully Voldemort, it was just Quirrell. Like, Quirrell was the one who Voldemort was leached onto like a parasite, but it killed Quirrell in the process, and Voldemort's still out there somewhere now. So I really loved that, and I loved how this movie, like, everything about it is just so interesting, and these characters, again, are so fun, so unique. I love that they do, like, all these characters, again, they're just so unique and so fun, and they give off such great performances with all the acting. All the acting's great, all the action's great, the cinematography's great. The movie has such a whimsical Wizard of Oz type of feel, too, in a lot of aspects. And it really is a fantastic first movie. And it's weird to say, it might be my least favorite, but I love every one of these movies. So I don't know where to rank this if I rank it, but we'll see. But I love this franchise. I love talking about the first film. This one was just a really fun ride to rewatch. I love everything about it. Everything I mentioned, great. Love the whole story. Love everything about it. So overall, just a fantastic rewatch. And next up is Chamber of Secrets, which, again, I'm going to say this for every film. I love all these films almost equally. So next up is Chamber of Secrets. Thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.